Today we're taking a look at these college basketball matches, which are happening on Wednesday, March 1st, 2023, and giving you our team and total picks for today. Welcome back to High Stakes. Before we dive into our video, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and make sure to watch it till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. Also check out our Patreon if you want access our premium picks. Our Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. You will find the link in description and comments section below. One more thing before we start, check out our new channel High Stakes Props and Parlays, where you can find our player props and parlay picks predictions. You will find the link in the description and comments section below. Fordham vs George Mason. The Patriots have won 5 of their last 7 games and 3 of their last 4 home games. They have played well offensively at home, scoring more than 75 points per game. They do a good job finding the open man, and they're very aggressive on the offensive glass, which will give them more scoring opportunities. They also do a good job protecting the ball and won't give the Rams a lot of easy scoring opportunities. The Rams have played well defensively, but they've struggled on the road, giving up more than 72 points per game, so expect them to have a hard time slowing down the Patriots in this game. The Rams have won 2 straight games, but they split their last 4 road games. They have struggled offensively on the road, scoring less than 70 points per game while making only 40% of their shots. They've struggled at the charity stripe, making less than 70% of their free throws on the road. They don't rebound the ball as well as the Patriots and won't get a lot of extra scoring chances against them. They've also been careless with the ball, which will lead to easy scoring opportunities for the Patriots, who average more than 5 steals per game at home. The Patriots have played well defensively, especially at home where they are holding opponents under 67 points per game, so expect them to keep Fordham's offense in check. Go with George Mason to cover the spread. Our team pick is George Mason Patriots minus 4.5 points. Both teams are hitting their stride offensively. During its 4-game win streak, George Mason has averaged 71.2 points, and Fordham has averaged 71 points in its last 4 games. George Mason's Aduro has taken his game up a notch in the last 4 games, averaging 20.75 ppg. And he will be difficult to stop. The over is 4-1 in George Mason's last 5 home games versus a team with a winning road record. In addition, the over is 5-0 in Fordham's last 5 overall. Take over 139.5 points. Oklahoma vs Kansas State. The betting trend suggests otherwise, but I'm going out on a limb and predict the Sooners will cover the 6.5 point spread versus the Wildcats. Oklahoma beat Kansas State by 14 points in the first meeting and will have similar success as a road dog Wednesday. The Wildcats have been hot lately, but I'm fading that in this matchup, especially versus a Sooners team confident in its ability to pull off an upset after taking down 3 ranked teams this season. Oklahoma may be better than its record suggests, given the strength of the Big 12 this year. There will be a few more upsets between now and the Big 12 tournament championship, and I believe the Sooners are a legitimate threat to upset the Wildcats tomorrow night. Our team pick is Sooners plus 6.5 points. The under also makes a lot of sense here, as both teams are much better on defense than on offense. Oklahoma in particular has been lights out defensively recently, and they just held Iowa State to 50 points on 31% shooting in their most recent game. When these teams played a couple of weeks ago, the Sooners held Kansas State to only 65. The Wildcats are led by senior point guard Marquis Nowell, who averages 17 points per game, but he only shoots 37.9% from the floor. This play correlates nicely with taking Oklahoma on the point spread, because when the Sooners play well, it is usually because of their defense. In 12 of Oklahoma's 14 wins this season, they have given up 66 points or fewer. Our total pick is under the total. Georgetown vs Creighton. I'm assuming that Wahab will be available considering this is their last game of the season. With a fully healthy squad, especially with the addition of Heath back into the lineup, I expect Georgetown to put up a decent fight against Creighton. Creighton beat Georgetown by only 10 points in their last contest, and I don't expect Creighton to completely dominate them in this matchup. With Creighton's spot in March Madness basically solidified, I would expect Creighton to rest some of their key players in the second half, thus allowing Georgetown to catch up a bit. Georgetown is also shooting at least 70% from the free throw line. Those shots from the line may be the difference between whether Georgetown will win against the spread. The Hoyas are 6-0 ATS in their last 6 road games, and Creighton is 1-4 ATS in their last 5 overall. Take Georgetown plus 18.5 points. The last time these two teams played, the final score was 63-53, combining for a 116-point effort. Even though Georgetown is now healthier than they were before, I don't expect them to give up enough points and score enough for the over to hit. Creighton averages around 75 points per game. However, even if they hit 80 plus, I don't expect Georgetown to score more than 65 points. Creighton limits their turnovers and plays at a slower pace compared to how they were before. Meanwhile, Georgetown is only shooting 31.5% from three-point range. It's hard for me to bet on the over when one team makes less than 1/3 of their three-pointers. Creighton has hit the under in their last 4 home games, and Georgetown has hit the under in their last 5 Wednesday games. Take the under 146 points. Rhode Island vs Loyola Chicago. While Loyola Chicago is in the basement of the Atlantic 10, they have won 2 of their last 7 games, while Rhode Island is winless in their last 7 games. The Rams are winless on the road this season, and that will not change in this game. The Ramblers have played pretty good defense in their last 2 home games, but they struggle to score. They will play good D again, and while they will have a decent shooting game, they will not light it up. Loyola will get it done on defense and score just enough to win and cover in what will be a close game. Take Loyola minus 3.5 points. I am leaning towards the under in this game, and that is not a shock since both teams are lower scoring ones. Plus, the Rams may be without their second leading scorer, who missed the last game. The Rams almost pulled off a big upset in their last game, holding a good Fordham team to under 40% shooting. On the other side of the coin, the Ramblers did not play great D in their last game. However, that will change back at home, where they have played their last 2 games close, keeping their opponents from scoring big. Look for a slow-paced game where each team will play good defense, and that is the main reason the total for this A10 clash will go under. Take the under. Missouri vs LSU. Missouri has won 4 of its last 6 games and 2 of its last 3 road games, including a win over 6th-ranked Tennessee. They have played well offensively, scoring more than 73 points per game on the road. They've taken advantage of their opportunities at the charity stripe, making over 71% of their free throws on the road. They rebound the ball well and they're very aggressive on the offensive glass, which will give them more scoring chances. They also do a good job protecting the ball and won't give LSU a lot of easy scoring opportunities. LSU usually plays well defensively at home in recent games, giving up at least 74 points in 6 straight home games, so expect them to have a hard time slowing Missouri's offense down. LSU has lost 15 of its last 16 games and 7 of its last 8 home games. They have struggled offensively, even at home, scoring less than 70 points per game. Their ball movement isn't very good, but they do a good job rebounding the ball, which will give them more scoring chances. But they've been careless with the ball, which will lead to easy scoring opportunities for Missouri, which averages more than 9 steals per game on the road. Missouri isn't great defensively, but the team played well in recent games, holding their last 3 opponents under 70 points per game, and won't have trouble keeping LSU's offense in check. Go with Missouri to cover the spread. When these two teams linked up at the beginning of February, they dropped a combined 164 points, sailing over the total put on that matchup by 16.5 points. KenPom's tempo ratings have LSU way down at 258, but Mizzou is ranked 84th, and they should carry the pace of play in this game, as they did in the first meeting. Missouri's offense may be a bit below the average of late, but they have still scored over 80 points in 4 of their last 8 games, including 86 versus a Tennessee defense that ranks 3rd in the country in defensive scoring. LSU is that team that will try to keep pace, but will be that one step too far behind to catch their opponent. 4 of their last 6 losses have been within 10 points, so they will keep up with the Missouri offense to a degree, as they did the last time these teams played. In that last meeting, LSU still put up 77 points despite shooting 40.9% overall in the game. The over is 5-1 in the last 6 meetings between these schools and 7-3 over the last 10. Take the over. East Carolina Pirates vs Tulane Green Wave. Tulane is the better team in this matchup as East Carolina comes into Wednesday night struggling immensely this season. Look for Tulane to control this game on both sides of the ball, as they will overwhelm a lackluster East Carolina team. Take the Green Wave to do enough Wednesday night on the road to get the win and cover. Our team pick is Tulane Green Wave -5 points. Jalen Cook is the offensive leader for Tulane this season, averaging 20.7 points per game on 45.3% shooting to go along with a team-leading 5 assists per game as well. Jalen Forbes averages 18.5 points, and Sean James averaged 10.4 points per game as well. Kevin Cross averages 14.8 points to go along with a team-leading 6.2 rebounds per game. The East Carolina Pirates continue a homestand Wednesday night and at an even 14-14 on the year, following the 19-point blowout loss to Houston. Defensively, East Carolina was dominated as Houston made nearly 44% of their shots to score 76 points, following a 40-point second half. Officially, East Carolina was terrible, scoring just 57 points on 32% shooting and an abysmal 60.7% from the free throw line. R.J. Felton is the offensive leader for East Carolina this season, averaging 13.6 points per game on 39.3% shooting from the floor. Brandon Johnson is second on the team after 12.7 points to go along with a team-high 8.1 rebounds, and Ira Osser averages 9 points per game as well. Jaden Walker averages 6.7 points per game to go along with a team-high 2.7 assists. Penn State vs. Northwestern. Northwestern's NCAA tournament berth should be secure, but it never hurts to stamp that resume with a late-season win at home as small home favorites. A 5-6 ATS record as home favorites this year isn't ideal, but this is also a spot where the Wildcats' offense should be able to open up against a poor Penn State defense that exists on a team that always wants to run. The Wildcats' defense is plenty good enough to get key stops in that style of game, and I'd much prefer to trust that unit late in what this point spread suggests should be a close game. Penn State needs all the wins they can get right now, but I've got a hard time they get the same defensive result as they did last time out because their defense just hasn't shown the ability to do that all year. The Nittany Lions have held 4 previous opponents to under 60 points, scored none since December 29 prior to last game, and in the 4 contests following those efforts, Penn State allowed 57, 101, 67, and 79 points against, for an average of 76 allowed game. Small sample size for sure, but I expect a leaky Penn State defense to show their leaks in this one. If we assume Northwestern at least threatens scoring at least 70 in this game as those Penn State defensive numbers suggest, then Northwestern's 10-2 SU and ATS record when they've scored 70 or more can come into play as well. The Wildcats have also managed to score 70+ in 2 of the previous 5 occasions. They were coming off a sub-60-point effort themselves. Throw in the fact that Northwestern has not lost 3 games in a row all year long, and home teams in the Big Ten have owned SU and ATS results all year. Backing the home team is what I'm very comfortable doing here. Our team pick is Northwestern -3 points. Offensive success coming for Northwestern is the idea here, and with the Nittany Lions having the pressure of having to keep winning on their shoulders, they are going to rely on their strength offense as much as possible. So I expect Penn State to push the pace regardless of what the current score is, and Northwestern will likely go along with it at times because, with their future prospects basically cemented, there isn't a huge need to be locked in on defense every single possession. I've outlined how streaky a totals team the Wildcats have been this year, but Penn State is coming off an under result, and they haven't played 2 consecutive unders since games against Michigan State and Illinois back on December 7th and 10th. The Nittany Lions are 14-5 OU since that time, and with a streaky Northwestern team possibly prone to some relaxation on defense and a few more over results in these final 2 regular season games this week, I see no reason to think that we won't see some points in this game. Our total pick is over 134.5 points. Chicago State vs. Gonzaga. While I respect Gonzaga's talent and consistency on the offensive end, a 27.5-point spread is too much for me to put on Gonzaga. Chicago State has shown signs of improvement despite their overall record and has a great free throw shooting percentage to keep them within the spread. In addition, their pace is slow. unless they fail to score in several consecutive possessions and let Gonzaga's offense dominate them. I don't expect Gonzaga will have enough possessions to beat them by the spread. Gonzaga's defense is also penetrable, with them allowing nearly 75 points per contest. Chicago State has not lost by more than 10 points since December 19th and has only lost by 27+ points once this season, their opening game against Northwestern. The Cougars are 6-1 at TS in their last 7 games, and Gonzaga is 2-9-1 at TS in their last 12 matches, following an ATS win. Our team pick is Chicago State plus 27.5 points. Gonzaga averages nearly 90 points per game, and Chicago State has brought their average up to 70.4 points per contest. Neither team relies on their defense to carry them, so I expect this game to be a shootout. Chicago State has also averaged almost 90 points in their last 3 games. While I don't expect a similar result to occur against Gonzaga, the potential to score in bunches remains prevalent. It's hard to bet against a Gonzaga team shooting significantly over 50% from the field as a team, and I expect the number 1 offense in the country to showcase why they are deserving of a seed higher than number 3 in this matchup. Gonzaga has hit the over in their last 7 games, and Chicago State has hit the over in their last 4 games on the road versus a team with a winning record. Our team pick is over 151.5 points. Texas vs TCU. Texas will certainly cover the spread in this one, but they might even come away with a win. The differences in depth between these two teams will be a huge talking point, especially as TCU continues to be without key figures, especially in the front court. Texas, on the other hand, has a full roster ready to compete and even after falling short on Saturday, has been playing better and better as the year has progressed. Expect the Longhorns to control the pace and rely on their experienced backcourt to lead the way. Additionally, according to Covers.com, Texas is 6-1 at TS in their last 7 games, following a straight-up loss, while TCU is 1-5 at TS in their last 6 games, following a straight-up win. Also, the road team is 5-0 ATS in the last 5 meetings between these two teams. Our team pick is Texas. We are full on expecting a track meet here, with a pair of teams ranking high in the KenPom Tempo ratings. The Longhorns rank 66th in that department, and the Horned Frogs are 45th overall in tempo. They combined to put up 154 points when they first met back in January. Texas has put up 80 or more points in 3 of their last 6 games. TCU put up 83 in their last game, and 2 games prior to that put up 100 in regulation, so their offense can flow at any given moment. Together these two teams have seen 32 of their games hit the over this season. The over is 4-0 in the Longhorns' last 4 Wednesday games, per Covers.com, and is 4-1 in the Horned Frogs' last 5 games versus a team with a winning record. Take the over 150 points. Utah State vs UNLV. The last time these teams met, Utah State took a 9-point lead into the half, then watched the Rebels rally to pull within a few points before falling by 4. Both teams shot quite well in that game, with the Rebels hitting 49.0% of their shots, while the Aggies were at 51.0%. The difference was that Utah State hit 7 more free throws in the game and had 6 more free throw attempts. They may not get that type of hometown officiating here, which should help UNLV to keep this game closer. However, the Rebels have been struggling offensively of late, producing 69 points or fewer in each of their last 3 games, and have been held to 71 points or fewer in 5 straight contests. Utah State was held to 65 by Wyoming, but this is a team that is capable of putting up 85. Utah State Aggies at -2 points. The under also makes sense here for a few reasons. I am not a believer at all in this UNLV offense, as nobody can score consistently outside of Edge Harkless. The team's second leading scorer is sophomore Keshawn Gilbert, who has put up a whopping 10 points across the team's past 2 games. In UNLV's most recent game against Air Force, they only put up 54 points, and nobody besides Harkless had more than 7. Utah State is known more as an offensive team, but their defense has been stepping up as well recently, and in each of their past 5 games, they have given up 69 points or fewer. As if things weren't already bleak enough for UNLV's offense, they have now been without third leading scorer Luis Rodriguez and his 11.2 points per night for the past several contests. Our total pick is under.